While most stores are closed, the Merrimack Bakehouse online store is still up and running. Go to merrimackpodcast.com to find easy, delicious mixes for breads, muffins, scones, and more. And there's free shipping on all orders over $50. Plus, check out our recipes that we've posted from previous podcast episodes. That's all on merrimackpodcast.com.
Hello, and welcome to In the Kitchen with Mary Mac. On today's episode of the In the Kitchen with Mary Mac podcast, we are revisiting stuffed mushrooms again, and we had to shorten the title because it was really, really long. It was going to be Chicken Parmesan Stuffed Mushrooms, but we just changed it to
Stuffed Shrooms Part Deux.
So just to, less words, much less words. Okay, so today's recipe is for chicken Parmesan stuffed mushrooms. I love stuffed mushrooms so much. They're just so easy to make, and you can do all kinds of things in them. So one day I said, I bet chicken parm would be really good in a stuffed mushroom. And I had these giant white button mushrooms. You don't see them all the time in stores, but I think I got them at Costco. A lot of times they have them at farm markets, at big farm markets, and they are like a 3-inch diameter regular old white mushroom. They're really good, very good for stuffing. You can use whatever large mushrooms you have available, though. I'm sure something like a baby bell would probably be almost the right size. Or no, it's not a baby bell. What is it? A baby? Yeah, baby bell, baby portobello. They're just a small portobello mushroom. That's what they're called, I think.
I don't know why you're looking at me. I don't eat mushrooms or purchase them.
I thought of that as I was looking at you. Why am I asking you about a mushroom?
Not good backup for this podcast.
Not helpful. Not in the vegetable department at all. So anyway, any large size mushroom you could use, even like a 2-inch diameter probably would work fine. This recipe made enough for 12 of the very large mushrooms. So that could translate into maybe 24 of the smaller mushrooms. You need a nice, fresh-looking mushroom, and you'll clean them by carefully removing the stems, washing them, and you can trim the ends off the stems and chop them up and either mix them with the filling or save them for another use. It's up to you. If you really like mushrooms a lot, you can definitely chop them up and mix them with the filling, and I do that sometimes. Whatever you prefer. So clean your mushrooms and get them ready. And then we're going to make the filling. And your filling is going to be 2 cups of finely diced cooked chicken breast. So this is a great thing to save some leftover chicken for. If you have, if you've had chicken for dinner, save a couple of breast or, 2 breasts for this. Something like that. You can use a rotisserie chicken to do this, which I love using rotisserie chickens for recipes that call for pre-cooked chicken because it's just so quick and handy. So anything like that you can use. You can even use canned chicken breast, works fine in this recipe. You'd probably need the large can of canned chicken, but it definitely would work really well in this recipe. So 2 cups of finely diced cooked chicken breast, 1 cup of Italian seasoned breadcrumbs, 2 cups of pasta sauce, like a plain pasta sauce that just maybe has basil oregano in it, like Prego traditional would probably be perfect. And 2 cups of that, and you'll use 1 cup in the mixture and 1 cup later. 2 cups of shredded provolone cheese, divided also, and olive oil for the cooking. So what you're going to do is preheat your oven to 350 degrees, and you want to get a large baking sheet and cover it with aluminum foil to cook your mushrooms on. Now, when you're doing stuffed mushrooms, a good practice is you always want to coat the mushroom caps in some kind of fat, because if you don't, they basically just turn into leather in the oven. So you always want to do that. You can use butter, melted butter, if you like. This recipe, I used olive oil. I sometimes use melted butter. But take the olive oil and put it in a small bowl and just dip your fingers into it and rub it onto the mushrooms inside and out, just like you're putting suntan lotion on them.
Step 1, put suntan lotion all over the mushroom.
Yes. Oil up the mushrooms. But you want to oil them up inside and out, make sure they're fully covered, and then just set them on the baking sheet. And like I said, if you don't do this, when you do stuffed mushrooms without putting any kind of fat on them, the mushroom kind of gets rubbery and tough. Whereas if you put the fat on it, the mushroom will actually cook then and be nice and soft and juicy when you're done. So don't forget to rub the mushroom with oil. Then you're going to put them on your baking sheet. Now for your filling, you mix the 2 cups of diced chicken with 1 cup of seasoned breadcrumbs, 1 cup of pasta sauce. Stir that all up together into a little gloppy mess in a bowl. And then you're going to add 1 cup of the shredded cheese to that and mix well. The cheese is going to be your binder for this, okay? Now you're going to take reasonably equal amounts. I know mushrooms aren't going to be exactly perfectly sized, but divide it between the mushrooms that you have. If you have some of the stuffing left over, what I did was I just kind of rolled it up into balls and put it on the baking sheet and baked it along with the stuffed mushrooms, and just, it was like an unstuffed mushroom, I guess. So stuff your mushrooms and put them into your 350-degree oven for 20 minutes, okay? When 20 minutes is up, you're going to take them out and you're going to spoon 1 to 2 tablespoons of sauce onto the top of each mushroom, and then a little drizzle of that shredded cheese, and put it back into the oven for, 4 or 5 minutes longer, and let that cheese melt and the sauce heat up. And then you are going to serve it. We had this as a main dish. It would also be something that would be nice with a side of pasta to have with, your pasta, or even for an appetizer, for a party or something like that. But it's really good. It was really, really good. So this is definitely a throw together recipe that I made because I had mushrooms, but it's definitely a keeper. We really, really liked it a lot. Here's a tip. If you don't have seasoned breadcrumbs, store-bought seasoned breadcrumbs, one of the things that I do is I will save bread. Like if I have, like sometimes you have a heel left, or a heel and a slice left, or a bun or whatever that just didn't get eaten and gets a little bit stale. I take those and put them in the freezer, and when I get a large group of them, a club, when I get a big club going of them, I will get them out and thaw them, and I will put them on a baking sheet in the oven at like 250 degrees for maybe a half an hour just to dry them out really good. And then put them in your food processor and whip them up into breadcrumbs. And these make nice breadcrumbs. And I don't like to waste things, so this is a nice way to make breadcrumbs and not have to do it, like you can save up until you have a bag full to make it worth your while to do it, so you're not just doing it with 1 or 2 pieces of bread. And then to make seasoned breadcrumbs, it's pretty simple. You can either leave them plain till you use them, which is what I usually do because you never know what you're going to be using breadcrumbs in. But if you're using them, say, in this recipe, and I need a cup of seasoned breadcrumbs, okay? So into that cup of breadcrumbs, you could like short measure your cup, maybe not a 1/4 of a cup, but I would say leave it about a 1/4 of an inch below the top surface of the cup. And then put in a tablespoon of grated Romano cheese like you buy at the grocery store in a bottle, and maybe a 1/2 teaspoon of basil, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, an 1/8 teaspoon of pepper, and mix that up really well. You can also add garlic powder to this. I wouldn't put very much in, but you could probably add like a 1/4 teaspoon or a 1/2 teaspoon if you like garlic powder in it. If you don't, just leave it out. But that's a good way to make seasoned breadcrumbs for yourself out of something that you already have. And I know sometimes you don't always have, breadcrumbs are one of those things that just when you need them, you don't have them. So I hope you give it a try and let me know what you think of it when you do.
Make sure to check us out online on Facebook and Instagram at Mary Mac Bakehouse, on Twitter at Mobile Mary Mac and Mary Mac Podcast, and on our website, marymacpodcast.com.
Thanks a lot for listening if you did, and if you didn't, too bad for you.